Hello, I'm John Tanner. I'm Editor-in-Chief for Telecom Asia. We're on the sidelines of Telco Strategies 2015 here in Jakarta, and joining me now is Mohan Veloo. He runs the Systems Engineering Team at F5 Networks Asia Pacific. Mohan, thank you very much for joining us.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Now, security has always been a problem for service providers, but what new kinds of issues or security threats are they facing now that they haven't faced before?
Okay, I think the threats have always been there, but we need to understand how the telecom networks have evolved. It started with 2G, where you had text, SMS, and voice. We went on to 3G with some access into the net, and now with 4G LTE, this opens up the whole power and the richness of the internet on the palm of your hand, right? And operators are always trying to make sure that now that we have availabilities to the internet, the user experience is of paramount importance. It needs to be quick, it needs to be highly available. But now, since you've opened it up to the internet, a lot of these threats that were present are now being amplified, and they're now, they're now more prevalent, right? And we see a few issues that operators that need to face. One of the issues that is becoming more and more important was the underinvestment or the lack of investment into the GI space. So that's the space between the operator's network and the public internet, right? So there traditionally has been underinvestment into what we call the GI firewall space. That's one issue. And this issue with the increase of usage of the internet is bubbling up all of the threats from the internet into the operator's network. That's the first thing. The second issue that we're seeing is DNS security. And you know that DNS is kind of the internet's mail system. So if I type into my phone www.f5.com, it goes to a DNS server and it finds exactly where it needs to go. But DNS servers are now under attack, right? And operators traditionally are the ones managing these DNS servers. And if the DNS servers go down, I won't be able to access the information I want back and forth. Finally, I think what's critical is that with the whole advent of the internet, there's a lot more traffic going into through the operator's network, right? It used to be just voice, it used to be just text. Now there's video, there's application, there's games, there's a lot of things going in through the network. And a lot of these security issues actually hidden within some of these traffics. So the operators need to understand, one, what's going through the network, and two, what actually is legitimate or not legitimate traffic. So these are kind of the issues that we are seeing right now.
Now, how well do operators understand those issues? Is it basically a new variation on a familiar theme, or do they really have to take the time to understand what they're up against?
I think it's a new variation of a familiar theme, but what has happened is that the increase of usage of the internet, the whole explosion of the internet has actually bubbled up all of these issues to the front, right? So the issues the critical thing that operators need to know is whether these issues relate to them and whether these issues are legitimate or not.
Now, what does this mean from a competitive standpoint? Can security be leveraged as a differentiator?
I think what's critical is that security is right now in everyone's mind, right? If an attack happens, it's front page news. It's not a news that's in the back of a newspaper. It's right in front, right? Everyone knows it. The whole country knows it. Stock goes down. Everything happens, right? So it is definitely a competitive advantage, because if you look at one of the key requirements of security is availability. If your network is not available, loss of confidence happens with your customers, and they will defect to another operator. So security is paramount. Security needs to be looked at very seriously.
And what opportunities are there to leverage security capabilities as a service to the customer?
So as a service, I think there are a lot of opportunities, right? What some operators are doing is providing, say, clean pipe services, right? So if you are a business, if you're a customer business, and you want to ensure that your business is running smoothly, because if you think about it, nowadays with the cloud, with a lot of things happening in the internet, a lot of your key critical information is actually out there in the net. You have to make sure that availability and access to the net is critical and important. So these are some of the things that F5 providers. F5 provides the capability for you, especially with our heritage of being able to understand the different types of traffic. I mean, that's very critical for an operator to ensure that the right traffic goes through and ultimately to make sure that the customer experience is correct.